Ryan's office revenge.
Sterling Wade's voice echoed through the conference room like he was delivering the State of the Union. Innovation comes from youth, he was saying, chest puffed out, hands gesturing at some invisible vision board. Fresh perspectives drive breakthrough thinking. I didn't stop walking past that glass-walled fishbowl. I'd heard this speech before. Hell, I'd heard variations of it at company picnics, board meetings, and that disastrous Christmas party where he toasted his daughter for marrying a steady provider. That would be me. Marcus Reynolds, 47 years old, steady provider, not exactly the introduction I'd put on my LinkedIn, but there we were. Look, let me be straight with you, 3 years. 3 years of 12-hour days, weekend system updates, and holding together this family circus with vendor relationships and pure determination. And yeah, it was a family business, just not my family. I was the son-in-law, which in Sterling's kingdom meant highly educated labor with benefits and a better parking spot than the interns. Want the truth? Marrying the boss's daughter didn't help my career. It buried it 6 feet under. Sterling liked keeping me at arm's length so he could play the fair-minded patriarch. Opportunities went to outsiders while family stayed humble. He called it character building. I called it systematic career sabotage with a 401 Kile match. So anyway, I built the logistics optimization framework from scratch, turned a department that ran on Excel spreadsheets and crossed fingers into a precision machine with 22% profit improvement year over year. Negotiated vendor exclusivity deals with firms that hadn't returned Sterling's calls in a decade. Created supply chain redundancies that saved the company during the 2023 semiconductor shortage. Nobody clapped. Half the office still thought my title was Jessica's husband. The only time my name appeared in internal communications was when I enforced the travel policy and canceled the VP's wine tasting trip to Sonoma because he tried to expense couples massages. Same VP once asked if I could help him reset his password. I run 4 departments, Gary. But sure, let me troubleshoot your computer while you're at it. You know that major contract I landed last quarter? 67 pages of logistics strategy, 8 months of client meetings, custom dashboard implementation. Client sent Sterling a gift basket addressed to me. He ate the artisanal cheese and forwarded me a blurry photo of the thank you card with a thumbs up emoji. Still, I stayed. Part of me believed maybe hard work would eventually matter more than bloodlines. Maybe being better would count for something. Stupid, right? But if you've ever been the backbone of an operation where everyone takes credit until something breaks, you know exactly what I'm talking about. That's why I started documenting everything, not just emails and contracts, I mean everything. Access logs, renewal clauses, vendor authorization protocols. I started bookmarking every digital fingerprint with the methodical precision of a man who'd seen too many 23-year-olds get promoted for remembering to unmute themselves on Zoom calls. That's how I ended up staring at one particular clause I'd authored 18 months earlier, buried deep in a renewal packet for our primary supplier, North Valley Logistics. Few lines of legal language giving me personally exclusive authorization status for all procurement through Q4. The lawyer blinked when I insisted on that specific wording. Unusual structure, she said. Why not standard corporate authorization? I smiled and said, sometimes you don't know you're being erased until they need your signature. Speaking of signatures, if stories like this hit close to home, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It's cheaper than therapy and actually helps us keep telling these stories. So there I was, 3 years deep, always ready to prove myself, still hoping Sterling might just once say good work. What I got instead was an all-hands meeting with catered bagels and a grinning intern named Brady Hamilton. But let me tell you about the golf lunch first, because that's where the whole thing started going sideways. Sterling had been extra cheerful that week, whistling off-key Frank Sinatra and strutting around the office like a lottery winner with insider information. My wife Jessica Reynolds mentioned over dinner that Dad had played 18 holes with his old buddy Mitchell, and Mitchell's son Brady just finished his MBA, might be interested in gaining some corporate experience. Gaining experience. I repeated the phrase slowly, cutting my steak like it had personally offended me. Just temporary. Jessica added. Dad said Brady seems sharp. Real potential. You know what happened next, right? A week later, Brady showed up. Teeth like a toothpaste commercial. Handshake firm enough to crack walnuts. Dress shoes so new they squeaked. Everyone fell over themselves welcoming him. Sterling gave him the personal tour. I'd been there 3 years and still didn't have my nameplate on the office directory. Brady's desk was 3 spots down from mine. Dual monitors, window view, ergonomic chair that probably cost more than my monthly car payment. I was still working off the laptop I'd bought myself because budget constraints apparently didn't apply to golf course connections. Day 3, Brady asked how to access the project drive. I'll get IT to onboard you, I said with my best professional smile. Quick heads up, you'll want to review the vendor authorization protocols, especially North Valley. Trickier than it looks. He blinked. North Valley? I tapped my temple. Vendor management lives up here. What I didn't say, you'll never find those protocols unless you know where I buried the access controls. Call it insurance, call it paranoia, call it whatever you want. I'd learned to protect my work because nobody else would. So anyway, 2 weeks after Brady's miraculous descent from Gulf Heaven into our open plan office, the rumors started. Whispers in the copy room, accidental reply all from the CFO's assistant. Big initiative, revenue doubling potential. Something about streamlining high-volume client logistics using proprietary optimization systems. Systems I'd been developing in my spare time for 8 months, between fixing invoice errors and explaining to someone named Travis why a $400 steak dinner didn't qualify as team building. This wasn't just another quarterly adjustment. This was the project, the kind you staple to your resume in bold letters. I built this. Problem was, I'd actually built it. My team had prototyped logistics modules that cut lead times by 18%. We were ready. We were the only department running ahead of schedule and under budget. Then one night, microwaving leftover Thai food and debating whether a second beer counted as weekend relaxation, Jessica walked in grinning like she'd solved world hunger. Dad's talking about that logistics expansion, she said, stealing a spring roll. Super impressed with the groundwork you've laid. Says he'll make sure you get proper recognition. I didn't reply. Just sipped my beer and smiled like a man who'd heard this bedtime story before and knew exactly how it ended. Spoiler alert, the architect doesn't get the blueprints. He gets passed over for the intern who once fixed a printer jam and called it systems innovation. Don't give me that look, Jessica said. He means it this time. Sure he does, I thought. Right after he stops introducing me as Jessica's better half at board meetings, but somewhere in the logical part of my brain, hope flickered like a stubborn candle. What if merit won this time? What if all those late nights, spreadsheet autopsies, and vendor relationship building finally paid off? Next morning, I showed up early, cleaned my inbox, forwarded quarterly reports to Sterling with optimized charts and laser-focused bullet points. His reply. I told myself that was progress until I saw him later at the cafe across the street, sharing salmon sandwiches with Mitchell and Brady. They didn't notice me standing at the crosswalk, iced coffee sweating in my hand, watching Brady nod enthusiastically while Sterling gestured like he was explaining the theory of everything. My theory, probably, while Brady nodded like he hadn't spent Tuesday Googling what is supply chain management. Back at the office, Brady had a sticky note on his monitor. Call North Valley, ask for Marcos. I stared at it for 10 seconds before slipping into the bathroom to practice breathing exercises I'd learned during my brief yoga phase. Still, nobody had said anything official. I kept pushing forward, scheduled team meetings, drafted new supplier engagement protocols, saved everything in a private folder, labeled just in case. That night, Sterling sent company-wide email. Subject, exciting growth ahead. Body was corporate word salad. Synergies, optimization, client engagement, strategic partnerships. But I read the subtext. Big project coming. Everyone knew I'd built the foundation. My team started buzzing. This is your baby, they said. Can't wait to see you lead this thing. I nodded, laughed along, pretended that candle wasn't flickering. Because I'd seen Sterling play this game before and I'd watched enough interns with famous fathers get handed kingdoms they didn't build. I didn't blow the whistle yet. I needed confirmation he'd really do it. Spoiler, he did, and with catered pastries. That's how I knew it was bad. Sterling only sprang for Danish and fruit when he wanted to soften a blow. Last time we had breakfast pastries, half the QA team got reorganized into marketing, and their manager found out via calendar invite. When I walked into that conference room and saw glossy trays of carbs and apologetic fruit arrangements, I almost turned around, but I had front row seats to whatever performance was about to unfold, and something told me it would be memorable. We filed in, department heads, project leads, interns, plural, because apparently fresh blood was our new competitive advantage. I took my usual spot, left side, middle distance. Strategic visibility without seeming eager. Sterling entered last, always did, like a sitcom character timing his entrance after the laugh track. This time Brady followed him, laptop clutched like it might explode, blazer still sporting the manufacturer's sleeve tag. Team Sterling began with that condescending warmth he reserved for interns and me. As you know, we're embarking on an exciting growth phase. I already hated where this was going. First slide. Project Accelerate. Strategic Future. Comic Sans font. I blinked twice, hoping it was a hallucination. We've been analyzing trends, studying metrics. Sterling continued, completely ignoring the 5-month analytics report I'd compiled. We need fresh eyes on this initiative. He paused for dramatic effect. That's why I'm thrilled to announce Brady will be leading Project Accelerate as our Strategic Innovation Director. Silence. Not regular silence, the kind that sucks sound out of the room. Vacuum-sealed quiet where common sense goes to die. Even the air conditioning seemed confused. Few people shifted uncomfortably. Gary coughed something that sounded like what the hell but turned into throat clearing. Sterling beamed. Brady stood awkwardly. Really honored. Can't wait to learn, lead. I smiled, clapped 3 times. Slow, polite, like applauding a child's piano recital. Everyone else followed, unsure whether to celebrate or check for hidden cameras. Sterling never looked at me. My name wasn't mentioned. Not even courtesy acknowledgement that I'd built every foundation this project stood on. Authored the vendor frameworks, created client transition protocols, optimized the entire backend. Nope. All that mattered now was Brady, intern whose LinkedIn listed team player under skills and quoted Gordon Gekko in his bio. Here's the thing, after the meeting, I didn't storm out or cry in the supply closet. I just drifted back to my desk, opened my inbox, flagged some messages. Then I retrieved a fresh notebook because the game was changing and I needed a new playbook. Brady found me 2 hours later, nervous, sweaty, holding a printed vendor agreement I'd authored 6 months earlier. Hey, Marcus, he said, tapping the document. Do you have the original file for this North Valley exclusivity thing? Don't totally understand the renewal language. I looked at him for a long beat. Long enough for him to start fidgeting. That's not my job anymore, I said, and walked away. You know what's funny about corporate offices? They smell like leather and poor decisions. Sterling's office was no exception. Mahogany desk, chair that cost more than my first car, framed golf photo of him shaking hands with some executive who once pitched a multi-level marketing coffee subscription. I knocked once, entered without waiting. He was on the phone pretending to sound busy, flipping through files like they contained state secrets. Yeah, we'll circle back on the vendor transition. Touch base next week. Brady will quarterback the handoff. Quarterback. Sweet mercy. He hung up, looked at me with his version of paternal warmth. Marcus, big day, right? Hope you're ready to support Brady as we scale up. Support Brady. Like I was his unpaid assistant manager, like I hadn't built the thing Brady was about to drive into a wall. I smiled. Actually, I wanted to thank you. He blinked. Oh, for the opportunity. The experience, for showing me exactly where I stand. I laid a white envelope on his desk, clean, crisp, no drama. His expression shifted, eyes narrowing like he couldn't process someone rejecting him. He opened the flap, pulled out a single sheet of paper, 1 sentence. I, Marcus Reynolds, resign effective 2 weeks from today. His mouth opened, closed, opened again, like a fish discovering mortality. You're joking, right? No, I said. Same tone I used explaining email folders to interns. I'll wrap up cleanly, no hard feelings. He leaned back, suddenly smaller in that oversized throne. Is this about the project? I tilted my head. You made your decision. I'm making mine. Come on, Marcus. Let's be adults. You're taking this personally. You made it personal the moment you decided I was more useful and visible. He had nothing, just stared at the paper like it might start dancing. I turned to leave, paused at the door. I'll transfer access to necessary files. Some may take time, legal clearance and all. He squinted. Legal clearance. I smiled wider. Some contracts are delicate. You'll want legal involved, especially on vendor renewals. I left before he could ask what I meant, before he could see me sending a blind copy email from my phone to legal@northvalley.com with subject line, per clause 9C, notice of contractual liaison departure. Back at my desk, I packed slowly. No big announcement, no farewell email. Just methodical closure. Each folder archived, each handoff note carefully drafted, each file saved to the correct directory except for a few I left intentionally blank with names like Q4 Tiplime Phonolex LX just to see who'd notice. By 3 p.m., word had leaked. By 5 p.m., Brady tried accessing the supplier dashboard and hit a restricted access pop-up. That night, over Chinese takeout, Jessica said, "So you really quit?" I nodded. Yep. Dad's freaking out. Are you okay? I thought about it. 3 years grinding myself into something unrecognizable, waiting for validation that never came. Being quiet, strategic, the good soldier. I think I am, I said. Next morning, I ordered business cards for Reynolds Strategic Consulting and sent myself one final email. Subject, in case they come crawling. Attachment, a folder labeled vendor leverage, read first. So anyway, it took about 2 weeks before things started falling apart. Not dramatic explosion, just slow, painful realization that a critical component was missing. Started with a Slack message a former colleague forwarded. Anyone have North Valley contact? Hitting a wall on procurement. That wall was me. When I'd negotiated North Valley's agreement, I'd insisted on single point of liaison for all component fulfillment. Not because I'm a control freak, okay, maybe a little, but because their VP of operations, Carmen, hated fragmented communication. One voice, one thread. That was the deal. Buried in Clause 7.2 between boilerplate indemnity language and force majeure provisions, authorized liaison M. Reynolds. Transfer of liaison role requires 30-day notice and written approval from North Valley Legal. Guess who didn't get that memo? Brady's first order got kicked back. No parts shipped, no updates, just professional rejection. Per contract terms, we cannot process requests from unauthorized personnel. Cue panic. Brady started calling everyone with vendor in their job title. Nobody responded. Week after that, another supplier, Precision Dynamics, flagged a delivery clause. Turns out their contract included timeline penalty waivers that only applied while I oversaw implementation. Without me, fees kicked in hard. Numbers stopped making sense. Budgets ballooned. The magic project with Comic Sans dreams started bleeding money before launch. I didn't gloat out loud. But when my former assistant LinkedIn messaged, "Did you take the whole house down or just the foundation?" I allowed myself one smug sip of overpriced cold brew. Then came the call transcripts, someone leaked, vendor check-in, standard stuff. Brady leading, sounding confident until the client rep asked about licensing handover for IP architecture in Phase 2. Brady, bless him, said, I don't think we actually own it. I think it's in files Marcus had, but we can figure it out later." Beat of silence. Then, "So you're saying the intellectual property you're building on isn't fully transferred?" Brady laughed. "Well, I mean, it's all in the system, I think, right?" Someone left the call. That was the turning point. Everyone realized Brady wasn't just underqualified, he was dangerously overconfident and catastrophically underinformed. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. Didn't answer. Buzzed again. Voicemail from one of the junior PMs. Whispering like she was in confession, "Hey, just wanted to say it's chaos here. I know you're gone, but God, Marcus, they're unraveling. Sterling's blaming suppliers. Brady's blaming legal. Legal's blaming procurement. Musical chairs on fire." I closed the voicemail, opened a document labeled Consulting Retainer Draft V3, adjusted my rate, then leaned back watching the show unfold from a safe distance. Sterling never called when my mom was in the hospital, when my team pulled an all-nighter saving $1 million contract, not even when I married his daughter. So when his name lit up my screen on a Tuesday afternoon, I let it ring while pouring tea. Not coffee tea, because that's what you drink when you're no longer living in survival mode. Fourth attempt, I answered. "Hi, Sterling." Marcus, his voice like honey mixed with desperation. "How are things?" I let silence do the work. "Listen, I won't waste your time. We've hit some snags with Accelerate. Minor stuff, growing pains, but made me think maybe we could bring you in temporarily, help smooth things out." There it was. Guy was basically begging, just dressed it up nice. "I'm consulting full-time now," I said, watching birds outside my new office window, of course. "But we were thinking short-term engagement. Get us through this transition. I'll consider it, depending on terms." Pause. "What kind of package you thinking?" I opened a new tab, typed out a figure, tripled my old salary, added vendor protection clauses and 90-day minimum retainer. "I'll send a proposal, it'll be clear." Another pause, nervous laugh. "You've certainly found your voice." "Always had it, Sterling, you just talked over it." Hollow chuckle. Like standing in a hallway where all the doors just disappeared. "I'll look for that email." We hung up. I stared at the phone, then turned back to my notes. 3 calls lined up. Logistics startup wanting to poach Sterling's fulfillment strategy. Former client looking to move their contract, and Precision Dynamics finalizing a consulting package they'd offered the day I walked out. People were noticing, not the handshakes or presentations, but results. Emails answered at midnight, saved shipments, polite persistence that turned maybe into yes. Later, I emailed the retainer contract. Read receipt pinged 4 minutes after I hit send. Next morning, wire transfer and single line reply. "Consider us retained." I printed it, taped it above my desk. Titled it My Favorite Apology. You know what Sterling always thought? That clients were loyal to logos. That letterhead kept deals alive. Guy was wrong about that too. Started with forwarded email from inside source. Subject, urgent account, escalation, Hexler Group. Hexler was our whale. Multi-year engagement, high margin, demanding as hell. Kind of client that didn't blink at 6-figure scope increases, but would rage for a week if their dashboard loaded 3 seconds late. I'd managed them personally for 2.5 years. Apparently, Hexler requested board meeting to discuss viability of continued engagement. Translation, preparing to walk. Leaked minutes arrived days later. Sterling tried charming them, Few bumps, but new team is capable. Hexler's lead strategist cut him off. Your new team couldn't find project timeline if you nailed it to their foreheads. Sterling laughed. Wrong move. We're terminating unless Marcus Reynolds is re-engaged. Immediately, Sterling stammered about legal complications. Hexler replied, no need. We've signed direct contract with his firm. If your company wants to maintain relationship, coordinate through him. Beautiful. I played that recording 3 times while eating leftover pizza. Hexler accounted for 18% of revenue last quarter, now flowing through Reynolds Strategic Consulting. They weren't alone. 2 other clients reached out through back channels, quiet lunches, careful hypotheticals. One sent flowers with a card, in case you're still accepting miracles. Every inquiry felt like justice delivered personally. Sterling's mask cracked. Board started demanding real updates, not pastel PowerPoints with handshake stock photos. Last meeting allegedly ended with senior member saying, you told us the intern could carry the torch. So far, all he's lit is our reputation. Meanwhile, I was reviewing NDAs, managing client migrations, hiring actual assistants, not imaginary ones Sterling promised every quarter before saying budgets were tight. By month's end, I'd made more than my last 3 quarters combined. When Sterling reached out again via carefully worded email copying 2 board members, I had a canned reply ready. As previously stated, all communications go through my client portal. My team will be in touch regarding terms. Didn't even sign it best, just Marcus. Fast forward to this industry event I went to, you know, the kind ballroom buzzing with ice clinking and whiskey glasses and jazz nobody was really hearing. Investors in suits worth more than my consulting retainer exchanged forced laughter and desperate optimism. Buzzwords passed around like appetizers. Scalable, agile, synergy. Sterling stood near the entrance, scanning like he still mattered. He looked smaller somehow. Not physically, more like someone had just told him Santa wasn't real. Guy who'd once assumed gravity bent to him, now realizing it never worked that way. He spotted me before I saw him. I was laughing genuinely, shaking hands with a partner from Dovetail Technologies. Competitor Sterling once tried poaching from back when they had swagger and functional vendor pipelines. I felt his stare before seeing his face. He stood frozen, scotch in hand, permanent shock etched between his eyebrows. Still couldn't process how the guy he never took seriously had quietly, methodically replaced him in rooms like this. Board members stepped beside him. Older guy who'd never mansplained supply chains to me. Nodded toward me, said quietly, he salvaged what he could. We lost everything else. Sterling watched as contract folder slid across my table. Logistics firm I'd just acquired, one of his former clients. New CTO signed first, then partner, then me. Marcus Reynolds, strategic advisor, simple, clean, black ink. That signature was the last piece of a 6-figure deal they'd tried and failed to close for a year. I didn't look over at Sterling. No need. No gloating, no final blow. Just quiet moment realizing the war was over. Not because I won, but because I stopped needing to fight. He'd built his company like family heirloom. Assuming legacy did the work, I built mine with contracts, relationships, and long memory. The corner office guy with no nameplate had become the man they introduced with handshakes and words like essential. I stood. Partner raised his glass to clean exits. To clean beginnings, I corrected. Sterling turned and left. I didn't follow. Look, here's what I learned through all this mess. Companies love talking about loyalty until it becomes inconvenient. They'll preach about family values while handing your life's work to someone's golf buddy's kid. They'll call it innovation when they're really just playing favorites. But here's the thing they don't tell you in business school. Documentation beats dedication every single time. Contracts outlast handshakes. Your professional relationships matter more than company letterhead. And sometimes the best thing you can do for your career is stop waiting for permission to be valuable. I spent 3 years hoping Sterling would notice my worth. Turns out, I just needed to stop hiding it from everyone else. The market recognized what he couldn't see. Clients followed competence, not corporate logos. Vendors respected expertise, not org charts. You know what's funny? Sterling thought he was teaching me humility. What he actually taught me was leverage. Every time he passed me over, I documented. Every vendor relationship I built, I protected. Every process I optimized, I authored. I wasn't building his company, I was building my exit strategy. Sometimes the best revenge is just being impossible to replace. Thanks for sticking with me through this story, fellow corporate survivors. If you've ever been the backbone everyone forgot about until it broke, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Hit that subscribe button if you believe competence should beat connections. Unless you're currently giving important projects to interns because they know someone who knows someone, then maybe skip this channel. And remember, document everything, know your worth, and never underestimate the power of a well-written contract clause. The corporate world might run on relationships, but it's held together by people who actually know what they're doing. See you in the next one, where we'll probably talk about another executive who learned the hard way that expertise isn't replaceable by enthusiasm.